Welcome back, CSC230, to part 2 of our first hands-on exercise. Other than creating our original container and making minor adjustments, this is our lists and links exercise, and we're calling it ex1 as well, since there's a little bit more to do here. And we're focusing on HTML, we're focusing on elements and structure, not as much style just yet. Now, so far what I did in the first part is the page has a picture, it has a headline, and it has a paragraph. Now, these are basic HTML elements, and we're also going to create some lists. Now, normally what you'll see, like when you do some of the reading, we put in a header section and a section section. They're elements that are basically used to kind of subdivide the page and help identify things a little bit better. Kind of like on a newspaper would have a masthead and a main body area and a footer area and things like that. So it's kind of used to organize the page a little bit better. Instead of creating your own divs named those names, they actually made elements so you can organize your page like that. And that's what we're going to do here. So everything will be inside of section other than a copyright. We'll just throw at the end, we'll put that in a footer. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put two lists. We just made a paragraph here, just kind of some placeholder text, and inside section, we're going to stay inside section. We don't have to go after that. I'm going to go right here after the last paragraph tag for the paragraph element, and I'm just going to hit enter. And notice it keeps it in line here because it's basically inside the section, and it's right here. And I'm going to put a H2, and I'm going to put H2 because it's going to be smaller than the H1, a little bit smaller. And I'll hit tab, and I'll just put things I like to do in the fall, since we're in the fall here, and I'll put 3 dots after that. So that's going to be our little headline, and then I'll put a list of 3 things. And these will not be linked or anything. They won't have pictures. They'll just be a list of things. And we'll do an unordered list because we're not going to put them in order of how much we like them or whatever. It's just going to be a random order. So after my H2, and notice I'm still on the same level here, I'm going to make an unordered list, which is just UL. And what you can also do inside your unordered list, you're going to have to put line items, and we're going to have 3 of them. So one way to use the shortcut to help cheat a little bit or to make things faster is use a greater than sign and then put LI, not L1, make sure it's LI, and then an asterisk 3, which means multiply by 3. And that means it's going to make an unordered list with 3 line items. Now you could do these separately. You could put the UL first, and I'll even show you how to do both ways. But if you do it like this and then you hit tab, it'll make an unordered list and it'll put line items inside. Now, if you didn't do that, if that was too hard or whatever, you could put a UL first and hit tab and then hit return. And then in here, you could do LI times 3. You could do it in steps if you don't want to do it all at once. And I'll do LA times 3. And I hit return by accident. I should have hit tab. And there it goes. So now I hit tab, and it works the same way. It depends if you want to be memorizing a lot of things. As you start to use Emmet more, you might do that for putting elements inside of elements. Now we're just going to put 3 things here, and this is going to be a unordered list, which will mean it'll be a bulleted list. Things I like to do in the fall, and I like to start the semester. Nothing I like better than getting some schooling done. So I'll put that first, starting this semester in the fall. That's what I like to do. And then another thing I like to do, I like to drink beers by the fire. That's a fall thing I like to do sometimes. And then the last one inside these tags here, I'll just put, I'm not sure, I'll just put watch college football. That's just something that happens in the fall. Watch the leaves change, whatever you want to put in there, whatever you like to do in the fall. Maybe there's something you like to do. I don't even watch a lot of college football, but I'll just put that in there. And so I have 3 things. So there's my 3 line items in that list, and it has an H2. So let's just save it and take a look at it. So I'll do Command S since I'm on a Mac, and I'll go here and refresh it. And now we have that. Now that almost looks like the same size as that. It should be smaller, but it doesn't look much different. We could try an H3 or something and see if that helps. But we can use CSS to adjust these things, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. But I have to say, it doesn't look much smaller than the H1. And there's our bulleted list down there. So now what I'm going to do is make a list of things and then also hyperlink them by using anchor tags. So let's do that. We'll go here. Now we're already saved. And we'll do the same thing. After the unordered list, I'm going to put another H2 and hit tab. And I'll put shows I watched recently. These are like, things I watched on Netflix or Hulu or wherever. Just some things I watched. They don't have to be the best things I've ever watched. They're just some things I watched recently. And then I'll make another list. And this time I'll put a numbered list. I'm not really going to do it in favorite order, but just so you can see how to do a numbered list, I'll do an OL, and then I'll do that greater than sign, and then I'll do LI times 3. And then remember, hit the tab key, not enter. There's my tab key. And now that's all ready to go. And shows I watched recently, I watched one, this isn't my favorite, but I watched one called Second Chance, a weird kind of Frankenstein kind of thing. And I forget what I even listed on the other one. I'll just throw in Outlander. I know I watched that recently. And I'm trying to think what else I watched. I'm going blank, even though I had them on my last page. I'll put in Goliath because I think there's a new season coming of that, and I'll probably watch that at the end of September. So I'll just throw those in for now. So they're different than the ones I had on the list, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. You'll have different shows here as well. So I'll throw those in here for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to link them. Now, right now, if I save it and you go here and I refresh it, it's just another list, except they have numbers. That's all the difference. Now, I'm going to link them so that when we click on them, they'll open up in a new tab, and I'll show you how to hyperlink. What we're going to do is wrap a hyperlink around these words or around the text. So the way you're going to do that is just go right here and go and put A and then a tab key. And now what it'll do is it'll put your href attribute, and you're going to put the address, the URL inside there. Now what it won't do, it won't know to wrap the closing anchor tag around the text. So for this to be hyperlinked, the closing A tag has to be over here. Now the way you can move it is if you just highlight it, you should be able to highlight and then drag it. Now if you have any problem doing that, just cut and paste. But it will let you drag it. At least it's letting me do that. And you could do that for all of these if you want. I mean, you can just get them all set up and ready to go. So you can just do A tab, and then I could highlight this and move it. Then all we're going to have to do is put in and I put it in the wrong place there. Let me undo that. I didn't drag it very well. It has to be right after the R in Outlander, not inside the LI closing tag. And then I'll do the same thing here. Now remember, they're going inside the line elements, and then they're wrapping around the text. So I'll put A tab, and then I'll just highlight my closing A tag and put it after the H. And now all that these need are just the links of where they're at. Now one other thing I'm going to do, and I could do it now because it might be easier to see, I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to put target equals, and then just start typing an underscore. And you'll see blank here, and then just choose blank because it's going to be target equals blank. And I'll move this over a little bit more because it's barely fitting on a line. Now once we put the URL in there, it definitely won't fit on one line. But this target equals blank is going to go on every one so that when we click on it, it opens up in a new tab. It won't wipe out our page that we're on. So that means it has to be inside. It's another attribute inside the anchor element. So there's the ref element, href, which is going to be our hyperlink reference, which we didn't put in yet, and then there's target equals blank. Now you could copy target equals blank and just put it in here. Just make sure you have a space between these attributes. If you wanted to, you could just copy this. I'm doing Command C and put it here. Now, like I said, make sure you get a space between those. And, well, I don't have to copy it again. I'll just put a space and then paste it. And they're all going to need target equals blank. Now, the last thing we're going to put in here is going to be a address of where this stuff is at. Now, what you could do is just go to just search it. Second Chance, whatever, show. I'll put show because there's a million things that'll come up. And I usually just go to Wikipedia, and I'll just go to the Wikipedia site. And what I'll do is I'll just highlight this. This is the URL, and I'll just copy it. I'll do Command C. I'll copy the URL. And I'll go back here and I'll paste the URL here. And it's going to throw off the look of my page a little bit, but that's okay because it won't naturally break a URL because there's no spaces in it. But I'll put that in there. And then while I'm in Wikipedia, I'll just go over here and I'll search for Outlander TV series. There we go. So this is the right URL that I want here. And I'll just copy this. and I'll go back here, not to this page, but in here, and I'll put it inside the quote because that's the link. I'll paste it inside there. And the last one, I'll change this to Cardinal because that's the show. I watched that recently. That was pretty decent. And there's Cardinal. And Cardinal TV series. Here it is. There it is. Cardinal TV series. Canadian. It was a Canadian show. So I'll copy that up here. I'll go back here. I'll paste it. And that should be it as far as our links. So I'm going to save it and make sure they work. And I could close up Cardinal there, the Wikipedia site, and I'll go here and I'll refresh. Now the only thing different is now these are hyperlinked. They're showing purple because they were clicked on before, but they're usually blue when you see them the first time. And now when you click on these, they'll open up a new tab and they'll tell you about the show. So if somebody puts a show that you never heard of, you could click on it and find out about it. I know sometimes we put a picture of something in it as well, but for now we're just kind of doing this. And there's 3 shows here. So simple stuff, simple HTML structure, 3 unordered elements or items that we have here, 3 link items that are listed in a numbered list, not that they're by favorite or anything. Paragraph, H1, H2, H2, here's a picture, which is an image. And the last thing I'll put in here, and we'll finish up this exercise, or at least this part of the exercise. We'll continue working on this, but this will be the end of ex1 list and links, at least as far as what we're doing with the HTML. After section, we'll make a new kind of division here. So we'll put this one after section, and we'll put something called footer. And I'll just type footer, and I'll hit tab, and I'll hit return. And then what's going to be in the footer is just kind of a copyright thing. Now, the copyright thing is just... Well, actually, let me put the P first. I'll put a P tag in here, and I'll put tab. And then inside the paragraph, I'll put a copyright, which I think is just ampersand copy and a semicolon. All of these kind of symbols, and I'll show you where to see that in W3 Schools if you look for any shortcut. Or if you ever just do this, if you ever just look for, copyright HTML code or something like that. Just search that and then find the W3 Schools or whatever. Here's W3 Schools. You'll find some listing of all these symbol entities. And sometimes you'll see numbers, sometimes you'll see these. So if I move down here, here's some different things. Here's the copyright, which is ampersand copy. I'm sure they have the ampersand amp in there somewhere, all this kind of stuff. If you need a registered mark here, I'm using the copyright symbol. So I'm going to use ampersand copy and a semicolon, and it needs a semicolon in there. So I'll go back here, and that's it. And then I'm just going to put the date, 2021, and I'll put a space, and I'll just put my name. And you can put your name. So put your name here. That's just a little copyright at the bottom of the page, just with your name on. And it's just in a footer section, and it has a paragraph. And that's fine for now. And then the body tag finishes off all of the visible area that we have. So let me save that, and let me refresh it one last time, just to see this spectacular page going on. Now, a very vanilla page with just an image, Times New Roman text, things like that. So it's very vanilla. We haven't done anything with CSS, but we did put in the structure, including an element called the header, a footer, and a section. So we even subdivided it that way, even though we didn't identify those areas yet. We used one little bit of CSS inside an HTML tag to make our section shorter so that things don't go outside of the picture. But that's all we're going to do for this exercise. So let me take a break here, and we'll finish up in part 3 with our external link, and we'll also submit our assignment.